Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Here we go with another week of the happy hour. Ask Me Anything with the normal suspects are all in effect. We got Hannah, we got Gabby, Mr. Snaggy, Mr. Andrew, and myself. And we also have some guests. One is Big Ditch Doc Jams. Hannah, you should definitely check this joint out. This is a good one. This is a good jam, if you will. So not sure what everybody else is doing. Andrew's
I'm doing water. Andrew's
diet.
trying to lose weight.
How freaking boring is that? But nonetheless, we are here to answer your questions, and we've got a couple pre-submitted, so we will be right back with you. Get your questions ready. All right, we are back at it, and you all need to get your questions up and fired and ready. Today's been, I'm going to call this, what do we call it? The Zoom day? What did you call it?
You're just zooming all over the place
We're
today.
just zooming all over the place. I don't know how many Zooms me, Steven, Gabby, Hannah, Shauna have done today, but we are definitely doing the Zoom around the country kind of day. But it's been an exciting day. Lots of stuff with Private Money Club. We've got our event kicking off on Friday, which is going to be epic. A lot of people flying in town. Hopefully a lot of you are going to be joining us, but let's dive right in. Gabby, why don't you kick it off? What do we got here?
Yeah, so we have, I see one. So we have, unless you guys have any others that are submitted, I have Malik. We'll start with that one. He said, is the principal of the cash value inside a whole life policy linked to a chosen hedge fund?
Not at all. No, not at all. It's the money inside of a whole life is in the insurance company's general fund, their general account. And the general account is then, invested in very, very safe and conservative investments, very kind of almost similar to what, maybe a bank's tier one capital would be, but they use treasury bonds, first secured loans, real estate. And Hannah, I know I haven't looked at it in a while what the makeup is. I know back in the day, like 2008, one of the largest mutually owned insurance companies had less than 3% invested in equities. So any of you that think stocks are awesome, well, insurance companies don't, because they hardly hold any stocks in their general funds. And their general funds are what, hundreds of billions of dollars? Something like that, tens of billions, hundreds of billions. So anything you want to add to that, Hannah?
Yeah, but then just keep in mind that at the end of the day, the insurance company is different than conventional banks, where at the end of the day, if you pass, die, graduate, the insurance company has to pay out that death claim. So they have to have that capital back there on reserves in the event that a death claim gets paid out. So again, kind of goes, we don't have to dive into it today, but fractional reserve banking, how conventional banks operate on versus Austrian economics, the principles of the insurance company, where they can never lend out more money than what they have on hand.
It's amazing concept, like you can only pay out what you actually have. I mean, we talked about logic today, right, Steven? That seems pretty logical. Yeah. But, banks don't need to have any money. No. They just, anyway, we'll go through it.
They just make it up.
There's zero hedge fund involvement in your, none of your premium dollars are probably going across any hedge funds, no matter what.
JG Wentworth.
Sing it with me, JG Wentworth. 877 cash now. Oh, good advertising, marketing.
I want my cash now.
Immediately I read that, I hear it in my head.
And Steven, now so do I. Thank you.
We need a jingle. When you need solid returns, Private Money Club now. Okay, not my thing.
Yeah,
but you guys
I think it was a good concept. Yes, it is.
All right, Gabby, get us off this, Gabby. Get us off this
Help this train wreck. Help this train wreck.
Okay. Steering back into the point of this all, Jack says, thoughts on using limited pay whole life plans versus traditional whole life for IBC?
Oh, hell, that's a great question. Hannah, why don't you kick us off there? We get this a lot, more from agents than anyone else, but great question.
No, it is a good question. Actually, I was excited about this one. So let's go back to why are we practicing banking, right? The only reason that we're using a whole life policy is because whole life is the best platform that we can practice this concept on with these features and benefits. And please, if you know of a better vehicle out there, you deserve it to come up here and tell me because we've been looking. All right.
Every day,
But,
looking.
But right, we're not talking about the product itself. So here I go again. We're talking about the process of your banking life and your banking function. So right, what does Nelson Nash teaches us? Nelson says that our ultimate goal is that premium should equal income. So later down the road, I mean, me right here, me in my 20s, I'm in my prime working years, and later in life, hopefully, I'm going to be making even more money. So why would I want to cut myself off at age 33 to not be allowed to contribute more dollars to my banking system? And now I'm forced to open up another policy at age 33 where I'm older now. I might have more health concerns going on, etc. I need a place to warehouse that wealth. So really, this question needs to go into how much money do you see yourself making later down the road, and where are you going to be storing all of that capital later down the road? So in my personal opinion, I'm going to be paying premiums until the day that I'm on my deathbed and I can't write checks anymore.
Well, let me go one step further. Like limited pay, a lot of people talk about these because they're like, oh God, I how quick can I stop paying premiums? Because their mindset hasn't changed yet. They think of a premium as an expense. They think of it like their car insurance. Who wants to pay for car insurance? You can't think of this way. These are deposits into your banking system. Why in the world would you ever want someone like an insurance company to tell you, you can't make any more deposits into your bank? I'm sorry. You chose to only make deposits for 10 years. Let's go one step further. Let's just say 11th year when you no longer can put money in, but you did the math on a plan that we would design that doesn't stop in year 10, 15, or 20. You put 10 grand in that plan in year 11. How much could you take out in year 11? You put in 10. I bet you any money you could take like 25,000 out by that point. So you're telling me you don't want to make a premium because you don't want the expense after the 10th year, but yet if you put 10 in, it might give you back 20 or 25,000. Are you crazy? Why would you ever not want that? Why? And then after that, why would you ever not want to put it in the 12th year, the 13th, the 14th, the 15th, the 20th, the 25th, the 50th, the 75th for Hannah? Yeah. You might make it that long, Hannah. I don't know.
Maybe longer. I don't know. Healthcare's pretty good.
There is absolutely no place for limited pays in the infinite banking concept world, with one exception. And I still don't agree with this, but I guess I could make an arguable point. Someone comes to us to design a plan solely for retirement, for supplemental retirement income. And at that point, they've already got it figured out. 65, I'm done. I'm not going to be working anymore. I'm not going to have any income. I'm just going to get my RV and I'm going to travel around the world. And I don't want any responsibility. I just want to be done and start drawing it down. Maybe there'd be a point, but then I'd come back and say, okay, that's fine. We'll stop it at that point. But realize that if you would have put this 10 grand in, it would have given you 30 back. That could have paid for the fuel in that RV with these rising gas prices. I'm just saying.
Maybe a quarter of a tank.
Another thing, too, with limited pays, why I hate them, is no matter what carrier you're working with, all of them would allow you to RPU the contract. So
bingo.
That doesn't take your ability to make premium deposits away. But if something happened where you had to stop making premium deposits, I don't know, something happened, you can just RPU the contract. That's in your control. But with the limited pay, it's in the insurance company's control. Last thing, limited pays are a son of a bitch when it comes to MEC rules. You can't get the money in them like you can in the other policies. You don't have a long enough runway. So you screw yourself for plan design with limited pays. If we have, if we need to do a YouTube video on that, that's a good topic.
Yeah.
I was actually going to add like a little bit onto that too. In those limited pays, you always got to add on that stupid term rider too, just to avoid that MEC status, right? I would rather use my capital to actually go and make me cash, capitalize on my cash, rather than buying the stupid death benefit that's going to fall off later down the road.
Oh, but Dave Ramsey said term is the cheapest, but now we look at term as like an added expense you don't need. broken system out there.
And just like a slight tidbit, actually, it was funny on my plane ride today. I was thinking about I was going to make a podcast over, not to put it this way, but like my least favorite questions, and then explain why they're my least favorite questions. You get what I'm saying?
Long podcast.
This 700-part series.
No, but it's a good question. So, Jack, it was good. You're eager to learn.
Yes.
Awesome. FKAT420. Thank you for signing up.
Awesome. Cool.
I think that's Fumi.
Oh, it's Fumi. Oh, hey, Fumi.
Awesome.
Maybe.
I like Mike's question, or well, it's not really a question, but I mean, it's not a legitimate question for money. But can we all sing "Happy Birthday" to Christopher tomorrow?
It is technically his birthday tomorrow.
My goodness gracious.
Yeah, tomorrow's the day.
You know, at this age, you don't even want to recognize the day.
It's just it's your 15th anniversary or your 30th birthday, so you're good.
Isn't Mike coming to the event? Can't we find a time to sing it there? Hopefully not the whole. God, actually, maybe just get it out of the way.
We'll do it on Friday at the ball game. All right.
Oh,
there we go.
Great idea.
There is a plan.
We'll get some cake. Okay, Antonio, how do you explain to someone the money in the policy and the amount they have to access to when they have debt or home repairs needing to be done when they see the amount in hand versus available?
It's a good one. I'll just do it real quick. I mean, if you have debt, then watch our video and see how we erase debt. So that would be the first thing. But home repairs, let's just say you got something severe, you got water leaking in through your roof, and you're like, oh, I got this money, but I want to put it into the policy, but I got a roof leak. Fix the roof and then keep saving after that, and then start the policy with a lower dollar amount. But Hannah, you want to hit that one from the debt standpoint?
Well, yeah.
That's easy.
Well, yeah. So really, let's talk about the why you're doing this, because you got to understand the why behind you're doing this in order to really understand the question. I think that's where somebody is coming from, right? Because you could go and take that money out to go straight to the roof repair and do it. Or like for an example, a client that I was talking to, he's using his policy and he's going to go and replace all the windows in his house. You know, that's about like a $30,000 project. And so why they're funneling it through the policy is because they never lose the interest that's earned on that money. So basically what you're doing is that you're funneling it through there. You're never losing the interest, and I can go and fix my house. Then now, because I'm practicing and I'm being that own banker in my own life, pay yourself back just as if you were to borrow that 30 grand from a conventional bank. So now let's talk about it the traditional route that you're doing it. If you go and just take out a withdrawal from your bank account and go pay cash for that home repair, cool. That's awesome. The home repair is done. But you know what's going on? You've lost all of that earning power, or what you could have earned on that dollar if you would have used your banking system. Because, right, I mean, this is not the short-term game. It's definitely the long-term additional step of what you're adding to your financial life.
Antonio, we're going to add that to the 700-part series about the questions that Hannah hates.
That was good, though. It was a good one, though.
Yeah,
and actually, that was one thing I just wanted to mention. It's just the mindset shift. That's the hardest part about our duty and our job, is just showing y'all just that mindset shift of what we've always conventionally been taught. Because I get it. I'm going to be honest with you. The worst people I talk to are my family members. They are the worst people to talk to about the banking concept because they're just
waste my time.
Yeah.
Right. They're just doing other stuff. And you kind of just feel like that whack-a-mole character, right? They're just hitting you down every time you come and come talk to them about this. So anyways, it's just a mindset shift, because I know it's not the conventional wisdom of how we've been taught and grown up.
Pause. Whack-a-mole video for TikTok. Just remember that. All right.
What is that again? Say that one more time.
Whack-a-mole video for TikTok. We'll have to do that.
There's a couple of family members I have with.
Yeah,
I'd like to.
I'll even name them.
That's
Whack-a-mole. I almost said it, but we're not going to.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, let's see. Tom, he says, Chris, when it comes to paying back your policy loans, do you typically pay more than required to retire the loan?
The way I do it is quite simple. So no matter what it is that I took the loan out for, if I take a loan out and I do a private loan lending deal that I make 12%, all the interest that I get, I put back to the policy. Okay, so all of it. Now I'm not going to be able to stuff all that money in because I can only pay the loan back plus whatever interest is owed. But I'm just in the habit of doing that. So whatever I make goes back to my bank because I'm trying to avoid putting any money in someone else's bank. And when I get to that point where I can't stuff any more money in my policies, that's time for me to open another policy. Secondarily, cars. I mean, it's no secret that I bought a lot of cars. I actually just bought another vehicle that is being financed with my policy now. And all I do is I find out how much a traditional bank would charge me for that loan. So if the traditional bank is going to charge me $2,200 a month, I'm going to pay my bank back $2,200 a month at whatever interest rate they charge. That's what I pay back. Maybe the car loan, for the Maserati that I did was 3.19 or something, 3.19% or something. That's what I paid myself back at. The new car loan is more because interest rates went up. They're up over 6% now. So if the bank's going to charge me over 6% for the loan, then why the hell wouldn't I pay my bank back the same amount I would pay M&T Bank? I do. So I just pay myself back exactly the amount I would pay somebody else's bank. Not a penny less, not a penny more.
You were planning on paying that anyway. I mean, you're going to pay it to another bank. Why not pay it to your bank? And now you can actually recapture that money. So instead of just paying off the policy, the policy loan, have a little extra. You can use that in your system to keep going and going and going.
Tom, I try just not to overthink that. I mean, let the traditional banks tell me what I should pay my bank back at. I mean, hey, that's the only free damn thing I'm ever going to get out of them outside of dumb suckers. So tell me how much I should pay my bank back at, you assholes. And then secondarily, the only time I ever pick an interest rate is when I lend money to my companies, and it's been the same from day one, and it will be the same in time. It's 6%. It's just a number that arbitrarily in my head makes sense for me to lend money to my companies. And I just did three more loans to my real estate companies for rehab needed, and I charged 6% on all those loans.
I see Tom put another comment in here, and I just want to hit on this really, really quickly to make sure that it's there. So investment earnings go back into the policy. We don't put any more into the policy than we need. So we're actually overpaying our system, just to be really clear about it. So we pay back. So what Chris does is he puts all of his payments back into the policy loan itself, pay off the policy loan. If I'm borrowing at 5 and I'm lending to myself at 7 and I'm making that spread, that goes into a segregated account. That's a little bit different. We can't put all of it into the paid up additions.
But that's what my next policy comes from. So policy number 10 will be a direct relationship or a direct reaction to what he just said. The money that can't make it back into my policy because of what you're saying, my investment earnings exceed the amount I could pay back to my policy. That's the next policy getting started. And it's kind of weird. I'm not always paying back money to my policy as PUAs. I'm paying loan repayments back because that's just filling my cup back up. So I deplete the cup, me making loans and make my money go to work. Then I just fill my cup back up. And when my cup's full, I get the money back at the hell. My cup never gets full anymore. Mm-hmm. I maybe let it get quarter of the way, and then I'm like, you got to get back out there and work. Like Brent's taught me well on that, like those green marching men have to go out and march. They don't like just sitting there. They're not like lazy cash.
Sometimes it's that very last one in the back that's out on a smoke break. That last little green man is still working. It will be working.
Here's my advice. I keep it simple. Hannah does 10% across the board. Hannah, if you're going to loan money to yourself, 10%. Love it. And then I don't have to think about it.
Love it. Or you can do 12. That's 1%
much
a month.
Easier than that.
Yeah.
Love it. Awesome. Jim, you're so kind. 31st birthday. Younger by the day.
Freaking genetics. Yours are better than mine.
Okay, Dexter, he says, when policies are put together, is there a critical illness rider attached to it as well? This one's a good one for you, Hannah.
Yeah. And we got videos explaining this too in depth. There's the chronic illness and the terminal illness rider, right? So these come free of charge on the policy. So why not add them on? Terminal illness, meaning that you have less than 12 months to live. Chronic illness, meaning that you can't perform 2 of the 6 daily activities of living. If you ever come to one of those situations in your lifetime, the insurance company will start paying out that death benefit early to you to help cover for the assisted living, the medical costs, etc. But keep in mind, it's not long-term care in that traditional sense. So Dexter, if you completely deplete that death benefit and you're still here and you still need that assisted medical living needs needs the dollars for it and the resources, it's not going to be there. So just keep that in mind.
Okay. Let's see.
Holy cow, this Stephen May.
I was reading that too. Brian says, is it possible to take an existing Heloc balance and refinance or switch it to a company with lower rates?
Sure.
Yeah.
If you can find one with lower rates today, that's the challenge. Good luck. Yeah, I mean, you should always be looking for lower cost money. You know, if you got a HELOC and the rates go up, I mean, shop it around. It doesn't cost anything. It might hit your credit score a little bit, but I don't know. I stopped caring about credit scores a long time ago. It's a funny thing when you become your own bank, that thing that we used to hold so valuable called a credit score just isn't so important anymore. You're just like, I don't give a shit what it is.
I don't know.
Interesting.
My bank doesn't care about my credit score.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate the courtesy laugh.
Steve says, do you believe that the lack of housing inventory is enough to hold real estate prices regardless of rising interest rates?
No, sir, I do not. I guarantee you it won't be, because it will come down to just actual feasibility of people being able to afford it. There's a lot of demand and there's still a lack of inventory, and there will continue to be, but pricing is going to have to come down to support that demand because people can't afford it with higher rates. Absolutely, positively, 100%. I'll go to the grave saying that is what's going to happen. Pricing has to come down.
Well, and
it's already happening.
Yeah, I was going to say we're starting to see it too, where we're starting to see houses that used to go for, probably 10, 15% over asking are now going for under ask. And I don't think it's just because realtors are still overpricing things. I think it is because the housing market, people are getting scared. They don't know what's going to happen. We have a looming recession. We've got interest rates rising, and people aren't really wanting to commit quite yet.
If the interest rate on a house mortgage goes up, that means that person can buy a lesser house. It's just mathematics. I mean, if the rate goes up 1%, which has done more than that, it's doubled. But if it goes up 1%, I can't remember. We did the math in a training that showed how much less of a house. It's significant. So if a person could have afforded a $500,000 house, which would be just a bit above the median home price, today they could probably only afford a $350,000 house. And that's just reality.
And this has been a fake bubble too. We've held interest rates at almost 0% for 14 years. And so it's not like this is natural up and down and up and down. This is very artificial. And now that we're having to kind of release the hounds again, it's just going to to become a bigger issue. So that's my
But
2
Steve,
cents.
that's a really good question.
It is.
And it's a question that's on a lot of people's minds because the talking head gurus out there are saying, oh, there's so much demand. Pricing's not going to come down. Peel that onion one more time. I bet you the people saying that have something to gain by trying not to scare people and help them understand what's really going to happen. Usually it's mortgage brokers, realtors, people that are in the business that rely on that. I mean, maybe they're just lying to themselves, but you got to really look at the data and the facts, and it's already happening. I mean, Salt Lake City and Arizona, the two fastest growing states for real estate in this country, are the fastest declining in the price of real estate right now. So what's next? I don't know why California hasn't literally just
fallen off.
It's going to. California is in for a treat soon.
But I mean, it's I think that there are some interests involved with it, like how before, right when COVID started, the National Association of Realtors got a realtor listed as an essential worker. Yeah, there's some politics behind it too.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they're already starting to say, we were reading an article this morning about new home builders, and new home inventory has gone just in the last month from about a 5.5 month supply to a 9.5 month supply. So we're already starting to see that pretty strong. I mean, refis were down 90% from last year at this same time.
Great.
So we're starting to see a lot of it.
Yep. A lot of good questions coming in.
We'll go to Stacy. Stacy has a policy with Lafayette. She's having a hard time understanding what all the numbers represent on her dashboard. She's looking for the part that shows what her money is earning, but she can't find it. Could we do a post or something that explains what each category means?
All right, before we go any further, everybody say hi, Stacy.
Hey, Stacy.
Stacy.
All right, now I'm glad Stacy's on here. So actually, to prep for this question, I have my Lafayette Life policy pulled up and on my dashboard. So truthfully, I mean, there's not like an accounting record, if that makes sense. All right, on July 1st, it was this amount. On August 1st, it was this amount. I see that increase go up as the year goes on throughout that policy. So actually, Stacy, at the end of the year, you'll get your annual statement. You'll see how that policy performed. You'll see the loans that you have outstanding, the loan interest that you owe, and then also what that dividend is that your policy earned for that year. So what we're going to do, I guess what I would do if I was in your shoes, I would go back, look at your cash flow analysis, go back to your mapping specialist and look at that cash flow analysis, because you can see on there how that cash is performing. And reminder, when you're meeting with your mapping specialist 2 to 3 times a year, when that next year rolls around, they're going to get that in force illustration. So then it tells us the exact values of what's going on and what actually happened throughout that policy for that year. So simple answer to you, Stacy, is that you'll see that cash growth be accumulated over the course of the year. So here's what I would do. We're talking here on July 27th. Write down what your cash value is on July 27th. Come back in a month later and see what it is on August 27th.
I hate to do this, guys. I have a meeting for Private Money Club at 5 o'clock, so I've got to run off, and I will see you guys later. I am going to leave you the mouse, and yeah. So anyway, I'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Andrew.
All right.
Okay, Peter. Peter says, is the car payment that you're making paid from your personal account or from your business account?
Okay.
My cars are owned personally. I don't own cars with my business, but I do use the depreciation, allowable depreciation that you can take on a 168K or a God, I'm getting rusty. 179. Yeah, whatever. I think 168 is the one we've used because they're used cars. And I always pay out of my personal because that's where my income comes. So I use personal revenue, and then I make the payments back to the company. If my car was owned by my business, it would be the business paying, but my car is not owned by the business. I might lease my car to the business, which I did on the last G-Wagon. So I might do that again, where I buy the car with the policy, then lease it to the company, and then the company pays me, for the lease payment, and then I just put that money back in the policy. But it would still be me personally writing the final check to my policy.
All right, Jim is asking for your prediction on the next rate increase. Do we have one? And if so, how much?
A little early to say that. I mean, we just had a 3/4 point increase today. I would say we'll probably see another 75 bip increase next time. It just depends on how much it starts to affect inflation. But the thing that's interesting, and I think they know this, but it's plain as day, you're not going to see inflation get down anywhere close to their levels until people start losing their jobs. Unemployment rates are too low. Like, everybody's employed, they're making money, they're scared to keep money right now, so they're spending it, or they're forced to spend it, which keeps the economy and the inflation running hot, as the Fed likes to call it. So until people start losing jobs, until you see weakness in the job, the job world or the employment numbers, no, nothing is going to change, and they're going to have to keep going with more and more increases. I'm surprised they didn't do 1% this time. I really was. The market liked it, though, 400 and some point increase, because it's not that the market likes the increases, it's just what the market expected. So it was just like, all right, well, that's kind of what we thought. So, all right, let's have the market go up 400 points. You know there's something very wrong.
Okay, Cameron says, how do you make sure that your policy is a non-direct recognition company? Where can you find that information?
Pick a company that's a non-direct recognition company.
Google it.
Google it, yeah.
You'll find it. Cameron, type in what company. I bet we'll know. We can give you that answer.
Yeah, what companies you want to know about?
Actually, it's funny. I went to school with a Cameron Barnhart.
Maybe it's him.
Bede, I like Bede's question. Chris, why are you so prone to hostility towards your audience members? With a smiley face.
I don't know. I think I'm just always so pent up and stressed out. It's just my release sometimes.
I think it's more the camera.
Yeah, I think it's more in front of the camera, but I don't think I'm hostile. I just think I'm matter of fact. You know what the answer is? I'm from New York, so we're just matter of fact here. You know, there's no beating around the bush, no time for that crap. So it's like, get to the point. You know, if you don't like the answer, don't like be like, oh, I'm so sorry, sweetie. Yes, I totally understand. I'm like, don't be an idiot. Like, that's so stupid. Think. Just a New Yorker thing. Sorry.
Plus, you'll remember it. So if you're yelled at, you'll remember it.
Yeah.
Actually, well, let me add something. You know what Dad says? Dad says, hey, I'm not here to be your friend. I'm here to be effective in your financial life. So I'm going to tell you how it is, and it may piss you off from time to time, but I'm the only one who's going to be here to tell you how to do it, because your friends and your parents aren't telling you the stuff that I'm going to tell you.
I love it. I've seen Brent piss people off, but you know what? They needed to be pissed off because they were just being idiots.
Oh my gosh. Oh, actually, Chris, if you want to take a sec, while people are still putting in questions, to talk about the event and the virtual ticket, you can put up the link.
Oh yeah. So if any of you haven't already got your virtual tickets, we just we have some left. I don't know if I have the link. I don't. I'd have to here. I got it. Okay, thanks. Yeah. So if you guys are interested, join us this weekend. So Saturday, Sunday, we've got a really crazy cool event going on, and you guys can click the link, grab your virtual tickets. Steven's going to be running the entire virtual show from this studio here, while next door in the TV studio, which we made a custom set and everything, it's epic. We're going to be doing the live. So you're going to witness the live from actual, it's a TV studio. So these are production cameras, the big ones with the handlebars. So that's how we're going to stream it. And then Steven's going to be here for all virtual attendees, answering questions, calling them out, doing kind of like this. Probably not hostile like me, but, just doing this. And then what he's going to do, he's going to bring over each speaker after they come off stage on the live stage, and then do a quick Q&A with them for 5 minutes. So it'll be a really cool experience. So grab your tickets now. Am I really hostile? That one's got me. I'm like, am I that bad? Gabby's like, oh yeah, maybe.
Well, I've had sometimes Brian will be like, I hope Chris isn't mad at me. Brian's on here too. He'll laugh at me.
Oh, actually,
no.
Look at Peter's comment. Peter said, people from Buffalo are usually nice. Chris, you want to chime in on that one?
People from Buffalo are usually nice. Yeah, they are. That's why I don't hang out in Buffalo. Imagine if you were from New York City. I'd be a nice guy in New York City. You know what it is? I just think sometimes I'm maybe just come off a little bit that way just because I care, and I just don't want to candy coat things that people need to take serious. And if people are being out of line and stupid, I'm just going to call you out. I love what you said about your dad. Not here to make friends. Hey, you can like me, you can hate me. It doesn't make a difference. Haters need hugs too, but I'm here to be effective. Like your dad, I should just start repeating his line. I love it. Passionate. Thanks, Kath.
That's it. Yeah.
Kath from California is saying I'm passionate. I like it. I don't know what I fit in.
But then that's why Gabby and I are here, because we're kind of that nurturing aspect. Because sometimes we always got to think, all right, there was a point in time that I didn't know what I know now. So I always got to keep that humbleness inside of me, saying, all right, they just don't know yet. We're going to take their hand and we're going to walk them this way and show them the way.
Yeah, for sure. Until Hannah reaches her limit, then then you're going to hear about it.
Here, I've got a special video that kind of just if you guys want to know how my interaction is with Gabby in the office. Let me play a quick video here.
You really need to get yourself a coach. You need a professional who's already
after Tony Robbins.
As much as Buddy was accepted by his family and friends, there were a few drawbacks to being a human in an elf's world.
Where the hell is it? Right here.
Hey, Ming Ming. Word on today's quote.
How many etch-a-sketches did you get?
Come on, where is it?
85.
That's me being aggressive.
That puts you 915 off the pace.
Why don't you just say it? I'm the worst toy maker in the world. I'm a cotton-headed ninny muggins.
Buddy, you're not a cotton-headed mini muggins. We all just have different talents, that's all.
Seems like everyone else has the same talents except for me.
You have lots of talents. Special talents, in fact. Like, special talents.
You changed the batteries in the smoke detector?
Sure did. Triple A's. In 6 months, you'll have to check them again. Holy. And you're the only baritone in the elf choir. You bring us down a whole octave.
Gabby brings me down a whole octave. That's what I was trying to get to. But anyway, it was a little wrong clip. But there we go. Cotton-headed mini muggins. All right. What else we got?
Oh, let me scroll down. Okay. A lot of people commenting on New York. New Yorkers.
Yeah. And New Yorkers understand New Yorkers.
Oh, Cameron says Security Mutual.
They're non-direct.
Yep.
Okay. Trevor's asking, are IBC policies the same as Lerp?
Oh, Lerp from Power of Zero. No, not Lerp is kind of just life insurance retirement planning. So the policies we design will work for Lerp as a general thing. In that book, I tried figuring this out and really thinking about it, and it sounded more like he was talking about VULs or IULs. That was my overall impression of what he was talking about. But the way we design our policies works extremely well for Lerp. So yeah, that's the same thing. I just don't know if that. I was trying to figure that out in the Power of Zero, like what policy he was talking about, and it could have went whole life, or it could have went like the IUL VUL side. Hard to say.
It looks like Dusty has a follow-up question from last week's. I think he had some
He was the one with I call it the TIAA account.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And so, yeah, Dusty, you can post that and we'll look for it. I think he was asking if we had time for it. So
sure.
I don't see it yet, though.
Yeah, it must be the sugary drinks. Must be.
Let's see.
Trevor, did you like that book, Power of Zero? Did you get a lot out of that? I thought it was a great book. It really tells the story of where tax rates are going in the future. You read that one, Stephen?
No, I haven't read it. I have it.
The audiobook's, I think, the best way.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that.
Oh, I've heard of this one question about let me do that again.
Kaizen, your thoughts on Kaizen?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what Kaizen are. I just saw this. I just got to refresh my memory. I think it's kind of just like that guy calling Kaizen. Let's see. Kaizen, here we go. I just don't remember exactly what that was that they were doing. Do we have another question while I'm just kind of brushing up on my Kaizen?
I just got one. Oh, yeah. Okay, so Dusty says, after talking with Tia, we have a little over $44,000 that is invested in a traditional account that has to be pulled out within 9 years. Can I divide that $44,000 by 9 and pay the premiums yearly?
Yeah, and that's what you should do. Just call Tia Kraft and, after with the guaranteed account, just ask them, to tell you how much you can take out each year. It'll be the set amount. And then, like I said, the interest rate right now is 5.25. Actually, it'll go up because the interest rates just went up. And then just get that dollar amount and then just take that amount each year and put that through your banking system. That's exactly what we were trying to say last week. Great observation and application, Dusty. Kaizen. All right. So I just looked it up. Back to, I can't remember who was it that was asking about Kaizen?
Peter.
I remember somebody was asking me about this before, and I looked into it and tried really kind of figuring out what it was. What it is, it's a mix of premium financing. So what they're doing is they're using bank financing along with a participant or employer. So it's a form of using premium financing. And just so you know, that premium financing, the lucrative aspect of it is slowly dying with rising interest rates, because premium financing isn't going to be a thing. In another year, you won't ever probably hear many people talking about premium financing. So this strategy won't be as effective because of higher interest rates. And then what they're doing is they're using a participant or an employer. So they're using bank financing and then a COLI strategy. So could it be the same as what we're doing? Yeah, but they're just adding a bank back into the mix, and the bank is financing part of the premium through premium financing. So that's essentially what it is in the high level. I mean, you could probably dig in the weeds if you really wanted to, but kind of the same thing. I don't know what vehicle they're using, but it's definitely a COLI strategy, like a company-owned life insurance strategy. So yeah, I mean, they're not referencing whole life or anything else, so it could be whole life for sure.
Hannah, Dr. Conrad Bingham says he was able to get a policy on his son. And he's wondering what the best design for maximum cash value on a minor's policy is.
Just our regular designs, right? I guess how would I answer this? I mean, the best design for maximum cash value on a minor's policy is that you can design these policies any which way, explaining the ratio between the base and the PUA. However, on a minor, we can't add term to that policy, so we are kind of capped out on how much we can add to the base versus the PUA without going over that, having to need term to in order to support and not have it reach that mech status. So it's really just finding that perfect balance of, all right, what is my minimum base that I can get into this thing versus that PUA without having to add the term. In my opinion, though, it's not my favorite way to design policies, but it works.
Yeah, my daughter's policy is the flip-flop of what mine are. So mine are mostly 60-40 designs, 60% PUA, 40 base. My daughter's is 40% PUA, 60% base. The reason for that is I wasn't so concerned with the early years cash value, so I didn't need to maximize that in the early years because it's a $5,000 policy, so it's small. I was more concerned with long-term growth and efficiency in the later years when she's actually going to start using it. So building it the opposite way, putting more emphasis on the base, the main fuselage rocket, if you will, instead of putting all the focus on the rocket boosters, which are going to fall off. So that's how I did my daughters. So you can do it either way, though.
That's right. But and then I do understand, Doc, that you're going to be using this for your own life. So that would be my answer. Just find out what you can do for base to PUA without having to add that term, because we can't add term on those minors.
Peter, if you're talking about Kaizen, no, I mean, it's legit. It's legit, but it's going to have some faults right now because as interest rates go up, premium financing becomes more expensive and becomes more lucrative to do inside, using it as that financing method. It's just complicated. There's a lot of agents out there selling premium financing because it's an easy sell. I mean, they can say, we'll use the bank's money to finance your policy. You'll get all this death benefit someday later, and the bank financed it all, and then you use the policy to pay the bank back. Banks have been doing this for a long time. My God, I remember back, in the early years, early 2000s, when I was an advisor, this was being done. It's just not even close to what we do, because premium financing would never make its way into infinite banking because you're putting control in the bank's hands 100%, because the bank is in control of your policy through collateral assignment because the bank's financing your premium. So you don't have access to the cash value if the bank's in control. So it's more of a long play. And if that's your goal, then, hey, I guess it could work, but it's just not what we do. Good question.
Okay, Bede has a question about how, if we can use this concept of IBC elsewhere in the world, particularly in the UK.
No, we've looked into the UK so many times, in Australia. Your government doesn't do it. If you Google in UK whole life, it will come up with a description, but really it's just basically saying you're going to get all the money paid to your beneficiaries upon your death. So it's kind of like how I interpret it, and I could be wrong, Bede, in UK is it's kind of like a what do they call them? Premium, what is it called? The term where you get all the money back.
Premiums. I know what you're talking about.
Premium return term. I can't
Return of premium.
It's kind of like that, but it lasts for your whole life. So it's totally different. It's nothing like what we do here. So in the world, as far as we have researched and done, US and Canada are the only two that I'm aware of working. There might be parts in Europe that do, but I have not yet heard or found anybody that's doing it there. Have you, Hannah?
I think it is called return of premium life insurance.
Return of premium term or return of premium life insurance. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry. What was the question?
I don't even remember, but we got it answered. I think they're asking about United Kingdom, and somebody earlier had emailed me that they looked up whole life, or I'm sorry, Instagram. They looked up whole life in UK, and they gave me the description of what it was, and it was just like return of premium term. But the thing is it never ended. It went to your whole life. So instead of it working like how we do it, they're just giving you all your premium back if you make it, the whole time. But they're paying.
It's so funny he asked that question because I just created the next blog post for the Money Multiplier on that topic. It's not out yet, but it'll be out Monday to emails. Not good?
Don't suggest that one.
Okay, Brian. Brian has a hypothetical question. He says, is it better to switch your premium payment to monthly or just make the minimum required at the annual renewal and then pour the full amount in when you have it later in the year?
Ooh.
Brian, wait, here's one thing I'll say before we get into this question. Brian gets me to think. Brian really does. Brian asks those questions. I'm like, I don't know. Doesn't matter, Brian. But let's get into it.
Don't be the New Yorker, Hannah.
I'll take at it first, though. I say go in at your monthly premiums because in my opinion, as soon as those dollars hit that account, now starts the time clock of that compounding.
Yeah, Brian, I had to do that. So one of my policies was annual, and I got 9 of these things, and it just so happened that when the premium came for a $30,000 policy, I had a whole bunch of other things. School taxes came, everything. I couldn't do it. So I was in that situation that you're referring to, and I just changed it to monthly. I know, you make a little less cash value because of the load on the monthly premium, but it doesn't matter. And I never changed it back, to be quite honest. I just still do monthly on that one.
Okay. Peter's next. He says he's looking to convert his kid's Roth IRA to a self-directed, but with the market down, would be selling at a loss. Should he wait until the market turns around before converting, or just do it not asking for financial advice?
Steven.
Yeah, I mean it depends how much is in there, first off, and I guess the question would be, why do you have a self-directed IRA and the money in the stock market would be the second question there.
No. He's got Roth IRAs, and he wants to. It looks like convert them to self-directed IRAs. But if he does, he's got to sell his positions. But
I'm sorry,
you don't.
I thought they were saying convert to IVC. Sorry, I misread that. Yeah, so converting to a self-directed. I mean, what's your other option? To leave the money in the market and take another 30 or 40% hit on it, unless you think the market's going to keep doing like it did today.
It's just and I'm not giving financial advice, but if that was my kid's Roth, I'd sell those things at a loss. I would get the cash. I'd wait for the market to go down, and then I'd start dollar cost averaging back in if you want to keep it where it's at. If you went self-directed IRA, you could then take that money that even at a loss, and you could start making that money work in fixed instruments like what we talk about. I wouldn't worry about the market loss. They're so, I don't know how old they are, but they're young. So they got lots of time to make that loss up. It's just time to get making that loss up instead of suffering more losses.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, I mean, that's more of a question. Do I stay in the market or not? Not what do I do with it?
Yeah. I mean, and it's a tough one because we're not trying to give financial advice. I'm just speaking as to if it were my kids, I'd be freaking out of that market so fast. I'd be laughing at the tiny little losses that I took on it. And I'd be thankful that I didn't lose another 30 to 50. And I'd have that money moved to a self-directed Roth. And I'd be moving that money, making money, teaching my kids how money works, doing some wholesale deals with my kids so that they can learn how that. I'd have a field day with that thing. All the coming years.
He said his kids are 13 and 16.
That's a perfect age to teach them.
Absolutely. Like you can actually teach them. Like my 2-year-old, like I can teach her, but then she just dumps her water on the floor and doesn't think anything is wrong. I mean, it's a different level of teaching that I'm at right now. That happened last night. She just gave her water and she just takes it, looks at me, and just dumps it on the floor. Wow. I'm just like, what is the lesson in this? Yell at her or make her clean it or just say this is just 2 years old? Canada, you probably did the same damn thing.
Pick her up and throw her on the bed.
Okay, FCAT 420 says, would Lafayette or Foresters be better to do a policy with? They're dropping $40,000 in a dump in to begin with and $600, $800 per month.
I like Lafayette by a long shot over Foresters.
Yeah. Wait.
But here's my opinion. I don't have a preference. They're both great, strong, mutual companies. They're both non-direct recognition. I mean, they're both great companies. What I personally would think is the deciding factor, because remember, it's not the product, it's the process. What I would look into is, who are you working with? Are they going to be there for those ongoing support when you need them there to keep servicing your policies, or when you have financial crisis or financial windfalls? That's really where I would be starting. It's not the company or the product itself. I would start with who you're working with and make sure that they're suiting you with all the needs and the goals that you're looking to do. I say both.
Yeah. I'm going to still go with Lafayette. I just had great luck with that company. And plus, maybe we're still on a little bit of a high from the meeting we went with them to hear like exactly how the company's financial strength is looking. I mean, I know they're both good, but Lafayette's really freaking good.
Okay, I guess we'll wrap with this one. Bede has like a follow-up question to his about UK. Can a non-American use your techniques in the USA?
Yeah, of course.
I'll elaborate. Yeah, absolutely. We work with Canadians. We work with folks in Russia. I don't know, wherever you want to be at. But here's the kicker. Here's what you got to do. This concept only works in Canada or the United States. And actually, Chris, did you know? I didn't even know this. I just learned this. In Canada, you can't do dump-ins on policies up there.
What?
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that. Well, that makes sense, though, because they want to tax every nickel. And the tax structure up there is different on these than it is here. But their cash values are slightly better up there.
Yeah. So anyways, but so if you have active interests in the States or Canada, meaning that you own property here, because you got to have an address here in the States, you got to have a U.S. bank account because premiums got to be paid in U.S. currency. And you got to come over here to complete that application and the exam if you are going to get that new policy. So for instance, if you're over here, like let's make believe you come over for business 3-4 months out of the year and then you go back home, you could probably use this system and qualify for a policy. We do have folks to do that.
Okay, Steven, this is your one. We'll wrap up with this one. Okay, Peter says, any experience using gold collateralized loans?
I mean, I don't personally, but I mean, it's the same as any other collateralized loan. So there's not a whole lot there. I mean, it's a good way to own precious metals and use that to create an income stream. Because otherwise, obviously, precious metals are just an appreciation play. But if you can collateralize that and then use that money and make the spread like we always talk about, on like a private money loan. So if they're going to lend you at 5% collateralized by your gold and you're lending it at 15%, now you're making a 10% spread. Now that money you're coming in is covering the loan from the gold-backed collateralized loan, and then the rest is profit. So that's just how banks operate. That's how, a lot of stuff that we teach, works. So yeah, I mean, it's, and I probably should look into that now that I'm starting to build my precious metals up a little bit, but I love it though. Why not? Anytime you can access funds that are otherwise just sitting around doing nothing for you, and you're smart about it and put that money to work, it can make a lot of sense, right? So I like it.
All right. I think
properly leveraging the debt. Dave Ramsey would come through the screen and punch you in the face right now, Stephen Aggie.
That dorky ass MFer, bring it on, dude.
He didn't even live in New York. And listen to him. I'm rubbing off on him. All right. With that being said, folks, thanks for joining us for another happy hour. Ask Me Anything. We'll see you this weekend at the Money School Essentials event. Till then, ta-ta.